I'm finally at the point now where I can start putting some stuff on the car. There were a little bit of issues with whether or not wanting to cooperate, things like that. But now, like I said in my previous video that I did of things going on in the car in 2021, now I'm at the point now where things can actually start going on. And as you saw from the title of the video, today we're going to be putting on the KMJ Titan alternator. It was one of the first things that I wanted to get put on, just to get it out of the way. It's one of the more easier mods to do on the car, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to have any charging issues with voltage going to my fuel pumps when the fuel system eventually goes in, or anything to do with that at all. I just wanted to eliminate the alternator problems that these cars have. Right now the alternator seems to be okay. On my X4 it generally reads about high 13s to low 14s for the volts for it. So it seems like it's fine, but I know this car has burned through alternators before. It was a southern car down in Florida before I took possession of it. So maybe the Florida heat had something to do with that. Maybe it'll be fine in the environment that I'm in. But it just comes down to the fact that I just don't trust the factory or replacement alternators for these cars. When you can just put in an aftermarket one and not have to worry about it at all. I see some people that buy the lifetime warranty replacement ones at local parts stores, and they say, well, when the alternator goes, I just get a free one or I put it back in. I don't really understand why you would want to do that. What if the worst case scenario happens and the alternator completely fails and the voltage to your pumps drops dramatically and you go under boost and you're not getting the proper voltage to your fuel injectors to pump in the right amount of fuel and you blow your engine up? Is it common? Not really. Can it happen? It's happened before. So I'm not willing to be one of those people to take that chance. Generally, most of the time when these alternators fail, you're going to start seeing decreased voltage over time. Your voltage will start dropping and eventually it's going to die. But you never know. It could be quick. It could be weeks, months. But I don't want to play that guessing game. I just want to put in a good quality aftermarket alternator and not have to worry about it. I'll try and film as much of the install as possible. Like I said in the video where the pulley went on the car, it's got a 276 supercharger pulley. I'm doing this at the same friend's house. So we're doing it at his house again. And like I said in another video, I don't want to make people feel as though they have to be a part of one of my videos, as though they're obligated to be or anything like that. So I'm not going to film people or other things like that unless they are completely okay with it and say up front, yeah, go ahead. But I'm going to try and get bits and pieces of the install here and there. And after the alternator's in and I head back home, I'll close this out and I'll let you know if I'm reading any extra voltage from what the stock one is pulling out. It could be completely fine and it's going to put out the same amount of voltage as the aftermarket one, but who knows? I mean, I'll find out when it's all on the car later on. And one important thing that I think a lot of people forget about when doing an aftermarket alternator on these, you have to make sure you have the right size alternator pulley on it. If you just take your stock size alternator pulley and swap it over to the KMJ or the J2 fab, it's going to be spinning it way too quick. There is a chart that came with this that said what size pulley will pull for RPMs on the alternator. I'm running a 3.2 size alternator pulley, and the stock one's a little bit smaller. It would have been way too much. It would have been spinning this over 16,000 RPMs, which you don't want. It will eventually kill the alternator. It doesn't matter that it's a better aftermarket one. It will eventually kill it. Same thing will happen with J2 Fab or MechMan or anything. If you spin those way too fast, you're eventually going to kill it. It can't be completely bulletproof no matter how fast you want to spin it. At this point, we're getting the alternator out of the car, and in the directions it said to take off the upper mount for the alternator and to grind away a part of it for clearance because this is a bigger case. I tried getting that upper one off, but the bolt didn't want to come out and I didn't want a chance breaking it, so we decided to grind it from the bottom. It worked just as well as taking it off. Well, the alternator is on, but like every project, something always has to go wrong. Unfortunately, we couldn't do the big 3 wire kit. My friend didn't have a crimper big enough for those wires that come with the kit. So that's something that I'll address later on and get done. The other problem we ran into is I did the belt size chart I don't know how many times to make sure I had the right size belt for the supercharger pulley I have, the snub idler, the size of the alternator pulley, all my idlers for the billet flow kit and everything else. The belt that I bought was about a ½ inch too short. I bought what I thought was a 76-inch belt, but it's listed as, it's the Gates Green belt. It's a K80755HD, and I kept thinking, well, it's a 75.5 inch, but the outside diameter says 76. So when you search for that size belt, that's what comes up, is the outside diameter 76, and what I really needed was a 76-inch inside diameter. So I'm off by ½ an inch. So basically I'm driving the car with no belt right now.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
I'm completely not serious. Of course there's a belt on the car, but what we did was we had to remove the snub idler on my billet flow 4-piece pulley set. So the snub idler is off, so the 75.5 inch belt fit, and it's tight. It's tight even with the snub idler off. And my friend said, well, buy a ½ inch bigger belt, bring it back, we'll throw the 3G wire kit on, and we'll get the right size belt on. And I got thinking about it, it's like, you know what, I don't really want to do that, because not that his suggestion wasn't good, I wasn't disagreeing with him. It's the money aspect, because I still plan on buying an upgraded supercharger for the car. I plan on doing it fairly soon. It might actually be ordered by the time you guys are watching this, because I'm actually filming this on May 1st, and by the time you watch this, depending on when I put it out, maybe I already ordered something, maybe I didn't, but you'll have to keep watching and find out. But my point is that I don't want to go and buy a belt to fit this setup right now, and then within a month and a half to 2 months buy another belt, because the pulley size for the supercharger is going to be a lot bigger than the 276 that I have on there. Because if I run a 2-something size pulley on an aftermarket blower on this, I'm going to be over 20 pounds of boost, and I don't want that on 93 octane. So my plan pretty much is I'm going to keep this belt on here. I'll just have to run it without the snub idler, which isn't a big deal. It's fine. I'm not really worried about it slipping or anything adverse effects for not running the snub idler on it, so it should be fine. And as far as how the alternator is actually working out, I'm pulling more volts just driving around than what I was with the replacement alternator that was on the car when I got it. Right now it's pulling anywhere from 14.0 to 14.2 volts, just regular driving. Every once in a while I'll see it dip into the 13s and then it pops right back up to 14. Before driving around, I was always in the mid to upper 13s with the other alternator. I don't think it was going out. It would have been probably a lot lower than that if it was actually on its way out. It's just that it's not as good of an alternator. I guess I shouldn't have made a joke about not running a belt, because I just shredded mine. Not exactly how I saw this day ending. I thought everything was going pretty well, despite the few issues that I had that I mentioned before with everything. But I went to pull on the interstate, heard this flapping noise, and I'm like, what the hell is that? It kind of sounded like gravel hitting like underneath the car. I didn't really think anything of it for a second. And then I looked over at my volts and I was pulling 11.5. And I'm like, oh crap, I think I just lost my damn belt. Finally got off the interstate, pulled over at a gas station, popped the hood. Sure enough, the belt's gone. So, not sure exactly how it happened or why, but buy a car and mod a car will be fun, right? It is until shit goes wrong, but I'll figure out what happened. I'm almost home. Hopefully I make it. I'm still pulling over 11 volts, but I'm not sure how much longer the battery's gonna last. The volts are dropping a little bit, but I should be able to make it home. But oh well, not the way I wanted this video to end. I'll probably do like one of those YouTube shorts when I get home, just so you may already know that this happened before you watch this video. But it sucks, but oh well, it's part of modding cars, and if shit goes wrong, there's nothing you can do about it. But thanks for watching the video, everyone. I really appreciate it. We'll get everything taken care of, and everything will be fine soon. Thanks for watching. Until next time.